I work on all aspects of the marketing here at the company, and I've been working closely on this webinar series. The purpose of our webinar series is to inform all of you with different ways to separate yourself from the competition. Driving more traffic to your site through neighborhood info is just one of the ways you can do that. I'm very happy to introduce Colleen Staunton, our resident product expert. Colleen has been managing all of Onboard's products and solutions, including our hosted applications, web services, and all our core content for the past 3 years. I'll turn it over to Colleen.
Thanks, Stephanie. Welcome, everybody, to our second session in the webinar series. I'm just going to actually give a minute for people joining. I know sometimes it takes a minute to boot up, go to webinar on computers. So we will get started very shortly with the webinar. Okay, everybody. We have had a few more people join. Again, my name is Colleen Staunton, and I'm a product manager here at Onboard. And we're going to go ahead and get started with the second session in our webinar series, which is 7 ways you're missing the boat without neighborhood info on your site. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. Actually, there is an area for questions, and if you have any questions during the webinar that you want to type in, please type them in. We'll try and address them, or we will address them at the end. And then, any other issues that come up, we can address at the end as well. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, this is about neighborhood information. We all know how important neighborhood information, local information is becoming. It's a very important topic in real estate, especially in website strategies, and then we'll go through and show you why exactly that is. So we've had, myself that's here, Stephanie Grami, who is also has helped with the webinar series, setting it up, done a great job with communication and helping to put together the presentation as well. So just a quick agenda of what we're going to go through. There's a lot of slides. Some of them will be good to see, and some information that we just like to share. And some of you might already know some of the information that's out there, but just some of the benefits that we feel of neighborhood content as well. And then we'll go through, as I mentioned, some implementation examples. And I think it's good to see, just to show, what's being done from our clients, what could be done, just to get ideas you could take back and kind of incorporate into your strategy as well. So what characteristics are buyers compromising on? And this is actually, it comes from the NAR 2010 profile of home buyers and sellers. And I think it's a great question, because we talk about, what are people compromising on when they're looking for a home? If, as home buyers, are you going to, what would you rather have? Would you rather have that second bedroom, or would you rather live in that neighborhood that fits your needs, where, your children might be happy, or, if you're a retired couple, you might feel comfortable living for, the next 15, 20, 30 years. So, what we found is that more people are more likely to compromise on the price of a home, or the size of a home, or even the condition, than they are on the neighborhood or commute time. And the reason why that's important to know from a broker and agent standpoint is just, as a home buyer, you're going to go look for that information. that's going to be important. So yes, I want to search by bed, bath, and price, but I want to know about the neighborhood or, the quality of schools, not just if there's a school nearby, but what exactly is the quality, what are people and parents and teachers saying about the school, how does it rank compared to others within that county or that metro area. So those are all good things to know, and we know that people are going to the internet, and it definitely comes up in aging conversations, but consumers are ultimately going to want to find that information online as well. The home search process. Just some more good statistics from the NAR 2010 profile. We know that 89% of home buyers use the internet when searching for a home. This is where they're going to start their search and end their search. Ultimately, it's going to lead to a conversation with an agent or helping with a broker, but for the most part, people are going to go to the internet first to find the information, and then their next step is going to be to reach out to an agent. In knowing this, the typical buyer searches for 12 weeks and views 12 homes. This is a fairly significant time frame. So if you think of it in the sense of, within that time, how can you get the attention of that home buyer? What things that they're going to be looking for. They're looking for everything that they can find out about the home, about an agent, about a neighborhood, things like that, or about the local area. First-time home buyers use real estate company websites and agent sites more often than repeat buyers. And I think this is obviously, it's, a pretty obvious observation, but, just confirmed by what we're hearing back from home buyers and sellers. So, knowing this, you want to make sure that your website, your blog, whatever it is, has that information out there. Repeat buyers are very loyal to, tend to be loyal to agents. So, getting that first-time home buyer ultimately in the long run is going to lead to more business and just a higher satisfaction. Again, first-time home buyers accounted for 50% of buyers in 2010. It's a fairly significant, obviously a half the share of the market, but first-time home buyers are going to continue to be up there and represent a great portion of the total pool. So the home search process. What we also found is from surveys is that consumers want to search the following. They want the detailed property information. So they want to know not just the bed and the bath, but the age, the lot size, are there fireplaces, is there a swimming pool? Some people can search by what type of view does it have. So all of those interior and exterior features beyond your basic parameters is going to be very important for them to search by. And the second thing, most important thing that they search on is detailed neighborhood information, detailed neighborhood or local information. Again, some people, I think, there's kind of the argument usually too that, when users sometimes move within a very close range to where they live now, which is very true, but you also want to know what's right around you. You may think you're going to move 10 miles away and you know all about the town or the neighborhood, but you might be surprised to find, good or bad, some detailed information about, you thought it was a very, there were a lot of teenagers in the area, but actually when you look at some of the numbers, there's not as many teenagers as you think. So all this information, is very important. And then, virtual tours. Again, we all know pictures, the virtual tours are becoming more and more important. I just want to point out some things, and I bring this slide here talking about destination local sites. We've seen a lot of sites pop up that want to attract home buyers and sellers and just the market in general. And some of those include WalkScore, Street Advisor, Neighborhood Scout, Yelp, NeighBwise. WalkScore, for instance, that's heavily, they want to highlight areas that are walkable. There's this whole push towards being green and having sustainable communities, and can you live and work in an area and not have to worry about transportation? Street Advisor, another site that loves to give local information. There's reviews, there's user-generated information. You can learn all about your street or your area. And so all of these sites are actually very great. They have great information on them. From our standpoint, though, in helping the brokers and agents, the only problem is that it is what it is. It's a destination site. So, their model, their goal is to attract traffic, getting as many hits as possible. Most of the time, their models are based off of advertising. So, they get those clicks on the site, and that's really their goal. So, again, the information on there is definitely extremely valuable, but it doesn't always help a broker or an agent in the sense that you're getting them to your site, you're keeping them there, you're being able to populate those leads or attract them to an agent or a specific office. So that's why I bring up just, you'll see these, and there are many more. I just kind of pulled some of the top ones off the top of my head. But again, you'll see a number of others as well that consumers are going to. And a lot of this stuff can be incorporated into your site, so you don't have to link off to external sites. So some of the problems faced by brokers and agents from what we hear in the market is that, they want to attract consumers to their website. Everybody now has a website. We all know that. And the trick really is, you can play as many tricks on search engines or do this, do whatever you may, but if you don't have the quality information on your site, if you don't have the neighborhood information, if you don't have the great search experience, users aren't going to come back. So while you may get them one time, you may not get them on repeat trips. They want to create a unique site. So, there's definitely a lot of technology providers that provide templated sites, and they are great, and some do a great job of it. Others they want to create their own from scratch. It's really just, I think a preference of a happy medium of what's important to you on each side. Another problem is keeping visitors on their site. So what can you do? You get somebody to come in, search from home, and they find a home, and then, where to go from there? A great call to action is always, capturing that lead, getting that information, but keeping them on your site longer, that kind of ties into attracting and qualifying that lead better than you would elsewise. So becoming and remaining the market expert is also another problem. It's not a problem. It's just, I think it's a major point for a number of agents. They want to be the market expert. There's a lot of agents in each market, and becoming the local expert helps them, with references. Word of mouth is obviously a big point among agents. So, or consumers. I'm going to ask somebody, who do you recommend? And it might say, well, this person knows everything about the area. So, that's great, and it's kind of switching that over to the web. How can you transfer some of that knowledge there as well? Wanting to attract qualified leads, again, that's where it's great to get, tons of traffic, but you want to make sure it's quality traffic. And then the last, but definitely not the least, is increasing SEO. So, everybody wants to make sure that they come up in, let's say Nassau County real estate. They want to be the #1 search result. So what are ways to do that? There's a lot of different ways, people have done, and we'll touch on that in a minute as well. So one of the #1 benefit of neighborhood content is not just becoming, but actually sustaining that image of being a local expert. Agents have the ability to transfer their knowledge to their website. So, we know that whether it's good or bad, people are going to go to a website sometimes more than they want to talk to an agent. They want to deal with an agent for a lot of the great things that they're doing, but they're also going to go to a website. So, it might influence some people in saying, I can't find anything on here. So I think that's, it's a very important point. and also attracting visitors pre and post sale. This is something we've heard a lot lately when we talk to clients that, yes, I want all those things to attract visitors, keep them on my site, but what can I do that I'm after the sale, after I've sold somebody a home or even after I've sold somebody else's home, I want to keep them coming back to my site for new things, to look and find new information. So what can I do, to keep me relevant so that the next time, 5 years, 10 years down the line, they also come back to me. And this is where we're finding that the neighborhood content is great. You have this information, but it's not just the neighborhood content, it's what you can do with the neighborhood content and the widgets and the different unique tools you can create using it. The number 2 is increased SEO. So, I think this is a strategy a number of companies are using, the neighborhood content. You can do a number of different things. You can create different landing pages. You can use key search terms that are being used. Maybe whether you're in an urban or in a non-urban area, the neighborhood content on here really helps your SEO with the search engines. And again, it's that coming up first in the rankings that you want. So, neighborhood content, it's unique. Still not everybody has it. So, like wins points with the search engines as well. The number 3, I think making an agent's job easier. And, sometimes, agents and brokers say, well, I want a consumer to reach out to me. I don't want them to, spend all their time on the internet. But if you look at the stats, the fact is, people are going to search on the internet for this information first, and then they're going to reach out to the agents. And it actually makes the conversation easier. So, agents can create lead forms based on content that people are looking at. It allows agents to focus on other items, important items with the client because, as a consumer, I'm finding this neighborhood information. I can learn about it. But also, a home buyer can come and say, okay, so, I know these 5 areas or these 5 neighborhoods that I want to look at. Let's get right down to it instead of maybe an agent spending time on 20 different areas. So it cuts down that, some of that interaction, which gets to the point of sale even quicker. Engaged consumers. You really keep your home buyers and sellers and, anything in between engaged by having some of this content on your site. The key is really having a consistent flow on your website. So you search for listings, and then you search for neighborhood information, and you look for schools, and you look for points of interest. And the great thing about that is, I'm not looking around. You can create a strategy such as, you're not keeping the consumer linking off to other sites. You're keeping them, constantly flowing through your site. And, half an hour later they look up and they're like, okay, I've got everything I need. Let me reach out. So keep home buyers on your site. Again, this is definitely important. We see there's a lot of good information that you can link off to by providing these URLs on your site, and they're great, but you risk losing consumers. So if I link off to a site, let's say I link off to 3, 4, you ultimately have to go back to the site, and I think it creates more confusion for consumers sometimes. Who knows, they could even end up on another broker's or agent's website, and would they ultimately get the lead? You could run that risk as well. The website stickiness, I kind of touched on this before. There's so many different things you can do. You can create, if you're in a local market and you want to create landing pages for each town or neighborhood, that's a great thing to just keep people coming back to your site and looking at it. But you can really have a flow where, you can view similar neighborhoods or view similar areas, or you can have a map-based implementation where you kind of show, implement data in kind of a heat map or a heat map type of strategy. So there's a lot of ways to just create that website stickiness, which again, this leads into the SEO, getting word of mouth out about, well, this site is great. I think this agent and broker really knows their stuff about the local market, and I think I'll go to them the next time I'm in. I need an agent for as a home buyer or home seller. And I leave this to last, and I know I say with a laugh, everyone else is doing it. We kind of say this sometimes, and whether for good or bad, your competitors are going to have this information up. You better have it up as well, right? You're going to want it for all the reasons I've said already. So, I mean, it's a major strategy for most companies. We have clients at major brokerages that they've already implemented these landing pages. We've seen the benefit from an SEO standpoint of creating landing pages. So, it's I guess it's kind of like when one person started to get a website, everyone else started to get a website, and now it just has to evolve as well. Brokers are fighting to gain traffic back from Trulia, Zillow, some of these other portals, some of the destination sites that don't even have listings. So, that's a huge, point as well. But it's just one of the many things to stay competitive, and it helps with marketing aspects from an agent and broker perspective as well. So I'm going to go through some implementation examples just to show, what some clients have done, other things that are being done with neighborhood information, just to give an idea of what's out there. So, I think here we have neighborhood landing pages. And this, you can see, for example, it's an Alexandria overview. There's a bit of a write-up on it. And this is really a simple Mad Lib type style where you can implement community demographic or school information. But again, it's unique content that consumers can look at. We have some lifestyle information for the neighborhood. But you could have featured listings. You can, have housing market statistics, which are very important, obviously, that people are looking at. And then, what are some of the schools and points of interest nearby as well. So it's really great because on this one page, there's a lot of information, right? And, you're getting the SEO benefits. You have other calls to action, right? So I can go and I can view schools, or I can go and I can do a lifestyle search, and then I can view offices nearby Alexandria, or you could highlight agents. So there's a lot of different, possibilities. Here's another example of a neighborhood landing page. You can see this is obviously in New York, but a little bit more of a write-up. And, here they choose to do, here's a neighborhood boundary. Here is where this neighborhood is. Visual maps are becoming very important with any number of implementations, whether it's a listing search or just a regular map-based search for school or points of interest. But again, another good example. Here are some neighborhood sections with hyperlocal content. And hyperlocal, obviously, we all know it's becoming, there's a lot of talk about hyperlocal marketing, everything that you can imagine. And this implementation, the client chose to, use the neighborhood boundary. So you can see, here's one neighborhood in the area. You can see what some of the surrounding ones are. But you can also have, so I could scroll over this, I can scroll over this neighborhood and you can see what's just there could be some write-up, there could be some demographic and statistical information, and, somebody on your website could do this. Again, it's, fairly easy to implement some of the data. You can do this programmatically. There's different tabs of information you can view, again, all in the one spot. You can incorporate local content with news. And I put this up here, some people might think, okay, well, it's broker or agent, do I really want this on here? But I think, again, if people want to know everything local in it, whether it's the news, the points of interest, the demographics, it's great stuff to have on here. This one you can just see all the local neighborhoods. Some people might not like this implementation as opposed to a more simple version where we just show one area, and then you can see all the listings within a specific area as well. going to show some things on Neighborhood Navigator just because I have some statistics to show of what type of traffic are generated by this neighborhood type level data. And our Neighborhood Navigator is actually, it's a plug-and-play neighborhood search tool that we've had for years at the company. So while neighborhoods have just kind of taken off, we've seen in the past that, you know, clients and consumers and home buyers are definitely looking at this type of information, and it has every type of information available on it. And I'm going to show, just because it's kind of, you know, where the previous slides have been custom implementations, this is more of a, you know, a plug-and-play solution. You know, it's a type of widget that, you know, people could even create on their own if they wanted to. And here are some of the statistics that I wanted to show just to see. This is average monthly. You know, the numbers might be slightly higher or lower, but, you know, absolute unique visitors is about 600,000. So it's over, you know, 11,000 visits per day. You know, page views, I think actually that was from our last month, the page views that we got for the application. So in this application, Neighborhood Navigator is on major national brokerage sites and also some local sites as well. So, you know, those page views are fairly, you know, people are searching for it. It's not just an application that resides on a site and isn't looked at either. And, you know, this is a good thing to look at for regional local companies ranked in the top 10 sites by visits. So, you know, I think consumers are looking at this data. You know, there's two options you could use, or you could create something that's very simple. You can do some custom landing pages, but I think there's definite benefit to it. You know, again, here is just a simple view of this application. You can see the different tabs with information in there: school information, nearby establishments, home values. And again, this is all information that you could have on your site too. And it's all at the neighborhood level. So, you know, whether it's in a hosted application like the Neighborhood Navigator, or it's in, you know, a custom solution on your site, this is all great information to have. People, consumers and home buyers want to search by this, so it's definitely something to think about. So just in summary, quickly, you know, I think the neighborhood content, you know, you need to provide buyers with the local information that they're looking for. Unfortunately, if they don't find it on your site, they're going to go elsewhere. I think that's just, you know, kind of a fact that you're going to find. So put it out there however you choose, you know, and then just, it's even great use for agents and brokers to look at it. It could be a touch point that they could reach out to potential clients as well. You can create local pages to increase your SEO. Again, you know, that's create different neighborhood or, you know, different towns, highlight on your blog different places as well. It's really important for website stickiness, and, you know, I think also it just helps you become and maintain that local expert kind of tag. So, you know, I think these are kind of the high points. Neighborhood information again, and I think when I say neighborhood information, I mean local too. You know, you're going to find places across the country where you might not have neighborhoods that you think of as in New York City, but that whole local concept is something to, you know, really be very cognizant of. So I don't know if there's any questions. You know, we like to talk here a lot about neighborhoods. We've been talking about neighborhoods for years. So, you know, if you have any questions, or you even just want to have a conversation with somebody here, we'd love to talk to you about it and how, you know, you might be able to use it, or, you know, maybe you don't think that it's useful. You know, either way, we'd love to hear the conversation and get involved and listen to what's being said. So I don't know if anybody has any questions. I'd love to answer some. I do see that somebody is raising their hand, and I don't know if you'd be able to just type in a question if you have any questions for us. I will just highlight our upcoming webinars. I think a few of you may have been on our webinar last week, or maybe even when we did one in the spring. But These actually are all, I think, up until November 10th. Again, they're every Thursday at the same time. And we've tried to spread out the topics, just so everybody can kind of, find how they can help their business and things like that. So I do have a question. So how do you provide service? So good question. We're a company that, a real estate data technology company, and typically our services are varied. We provide a lot of this content out to clients. I don't whether you're a broker or an agent, and we have hosted applications, so you could license an application like the Neighborhood Navigator and put that on your site. You don't need many development resources. If you do have, some people work with developers or that, we work with you to kind of create a strategy on how you could use this content. But we really like to be the people behind the data, and we're not a destination site, so we would send data to you. You would design your website. We would help you in that process. So we provide kind of a consultative service and also the data that you can use to put on your site. Do your apps work on WordPress.org? So our bulk content definitely works on WordPress. We do have Navigator, our host application, and also some other lifestyle widget and things like that, and they do work on WordPress. Yes. And again, if we could reach out to you further on some of these questions just to see what other problems or things you might have regarding them. Any other questions from the attendees? Okay, so I will say that we are recording this, and we will be able to send it out. I know there was the question if we could provide last week's, and we can definitely provide last week's out to the attendees. But once we get everything set up and the link set up, Stephanie's done a great job with that, and we'll be able to send that out as well. Okay, so yeah, so if you're getting ready to launch a marketing campaign, sure, we'd love to talk and see, where you might need help. We could have somebody here reach out to you. That's not a problem. There might be ways that we could help, help you do that. It would just depend, and we'd have to know more. But yes, we can definitely reach out to you on that. Okay, so and actually, for the person who just asked that, you could reach out to either this email or phone number, but we also have your information if you registered in your email, and we'll have somebody here either in marketing or sales reach out so they can just begin the discussion with you. Okay. If there's no other questions, I'd like to thank everybody for joining, and remember, next week is about listing search, and we'll be discussing that. And I think, does an IDX work with Neighborhood Nav? So actually, no, they're separate. The Neighborhood Navigator is strictly a neighborhood search, a community search, and it doesn't integrate fully, or there are no listings integrated excuse me, into the application, but there definitely are ways that we can talk about how you might be able to integrate it on your site. Okay, great. I look forward to seeing everybody next week, and I hope everybody has a great day and a great weekend. We will talk soon. Thank you.